Hey students, this is lesson 2.6. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to find rates and ratios and how to convert units and rates. Go ahead and do the review. I'll check back with you. All right, comparing units, you are shopping for sweaters. Store A sells 2 sweaters for $60. Store B sells 3 sweaters for $80. Which store offers the better deal? Explain. What we're going to do is write these prices as rates and then compare them. So store A is $60 for 2 sweaters. Store B is $80 for 3 sweaters. And we're going to change these to what's called a unit rate. So we're going to find the unit rate, and when we do that, all you do is divide the two numbers. 60 divided by 2 is $30, and that's $30 now per 1 sweater. And then the other one, if we divide it, we get $26.67, rounded to the nearest cent, for 1 sweater. And so now that it's a unit rate, so the price per one, we can just find whichever number is lower, and that would be store B offers a better deal because it has a lower unit rate. So the way you do a problem like this is just find the unit rate, which means divide out the rate so that it's per 1 unit. All right, you can try this. Got it? See how you're doing. Okay, we're going to learn how to convert units. And one thing we're going to do to convert units is use conversion factors. Conversion factors are always equal to 1. That's important because that means we can multiply them and they're not going to change the value. They'll just change what the units that we use to represent the value. So here's some that we're going to use. 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. 1 hour is 60 minutes. So to convert, we're just going to take this value we start with, and we're going to multiply by a conversion factor. And remember, conversion factors are always equal to 1. That will give us what we want, which is meters. So we're going to use this, and we're going to write it. We can either write it 1 meter over 100 centimeters or 100 centimeters over 1 meter, depending on what we want. We want to divide out the units that we start with so that we're left with the units that we're looking for, which is meters. I'm going to put my 1 meter on top and my 100 centimeters on the bottom. That way the centimeters divide out. And then I'm just going to multiply this out, and I get 155 in the numerator, 100 in the denominator, and that equals 1.55. And whatever units I didn't cancel, that is the units that I use in my answer, 1.55 meters. All right, you try that. All right, sometimes we're going to be wanting to convert between systems. So we need to use some conversion factor that changes from one system to another. In this case, we're going from the English system to the metric system. And so we're given that the Space Needle is 605 feet tall. So we're starting with 605 feet. We want to change that into meters. So here's our ratio. 1 meter is 3.28 feet. Now remember, those are both the same. So if I write it as a ratio, it's really just equal to 1. And I want to choose it so that I'm canceling out the units that I start with, and I am left with the units that I want in my answer, which is meters. I'm going to put the 1 meter on top and the 3.28 in the denominator. That way the feet cancel out. And you can think of that as, of course, the fraction 605 over 1. So what I need to do is take 605 divided by 3.28. And if I round that, say, to the nearest whole meter, I get about 184. And whatever we didn't cancel is my units left, and that's meters. I'll let you try that. All right, sometimes converting rates gets a little more complicated, and it's good to have a system to do that. And we're going to use the same system where we keep multiplying by conversion factors. Remember, conversion factors have a value of 1, so we can multiply it by 1 as many times as we want. We're not going to change the value. We're just going to change the units that it's measured in. So we have a student who ran 100 yards in 12 seconds. At what speed did the student run in miles per hour? So we need to change from yards and seconds to miles per hour. And we're going to use a couple things here. We know that 3 feet equals 1 yard. We know that 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. And we know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. And that 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Now, I'm going to write those as ratios depending on how I want to cancel out the units I have. And remember, each of these is equal to 1. So I'm going to start with the student runs 100 yards per 12 seconds. Start with that rate. And I'm going to multiply by a conversion factor, which is multiplying by 1. But I want to cancel something out here. So I think I'm going to start by canceling out my yards. So I'm going to put a yard down here, and that's this one here. 1 yard. To keep it equal to 1, I'm going to put 3 feet on top because they're the same size. They're just different units of measurement. And now my yards can cancel. And it's good to do this canceling as you go so you kind of keep track of where you're at. Now I'm in feet, and I don't want feet, I want miles. So I'm going to use this one now. 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. I'm going to put the 5,280 on the bottom so that the feet cancel out. And now I have miles, which is good. Now I just need hours. Now I have seconds. My conversion per second is 60 seconds equals 1 minute. I want my seconds on top because I want to cancel out with the seconds on the bottom down here. 1 minute. Now I have minutes, but I don't want minutes, I want hours, so I'm going to use this last one right here. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And I want my minutes to cancel, so I'm going to put 60 minutes on top and 1 hour on the bottom. Now I just have a bunch of fractions to multiply together, so I'm just going to multiply. Don't forget to cancel the minutes. Notice after all that canceling, the things I haven't canceled are what my goal was, miles per hour. All right, so now I need to multiply 100 times 3 times 1 times 60 times 60. That's my numerator. My denominator is 12 times 1 times 5,280 times 1 times 1. You don't have to write all these ones because they're not going to change. But just to get the idea. Anyway, when I do all that, I get 1,080,000 in my numerator, and I get 63,360 in my denominator. When I divide those two, I get about 17, and I'm going to label it miles per hour. So all that work, and but the nice thing about this is you know you're going to get the right answer because everything is in the right place. All right, I'm going to let you try that. All right, there you go. That's the answer for that. And go ahead and do the lesson check in be ready with that next time we meet in class.